Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Soo, returning to narrate her 5th Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
All right, it is Wednesday again, and another episode of Cate and Ty Break It Down.
Cate and Ty Break It Down episode, whatever.
I don't even know. I don't even know what episode it is. Anymore. But it's funny because today, this episode lands on our 10-year anniversary.
10-year wedding anniversary.
Yeah, 10 years married.
10 years married. We've been together 18 years. Don't get it twisted.
I know, because when I was telling Nova that today, I'm like, yeah, today is, our 10-year anniversary. She's like, what? I thought it was longer than that. I'm like, it is. But we've been married 10 years together for longer.
I feel like little kids always do that. They're like, oh, you got together when you got married. Like
Nova was like, oh, I thought it was longer than that.
But we have been married 10 years.
Yeah.
I always tell her it's the age that she is.
Right.
Like you were 9 months old when we got married.
Yeah, we'll never be able to forget it. Yeah. She's the same age that we are when we got married.
Okay, how do you feel a decade into marriage? What's your what are you thinking?
I feel it's fine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
No, because everyone always says, like, 7-year itch and, or whatever, 5 years you have these problems or whatever. Like, I'm just like, okay,
I never got the 7-year itch.
We're a decade in.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I feel great. I honestly feel sometimes I'm like almost like too good to be true in a way. Like, because you just hear so many horror stories.
Well, I mean, our first year of marriage was hell. It was hard.
But what's weird is that even though the first year of marriage was hard, we already, technically, we were already together for so long before that.
Yeah, so but the first year of marriage was crazy.
It was, yeah. But I feel like the first year of marriage for most people, they're dating for a few years before that. We were dating a long-ass time.
No, we were.
Before our first year of marriage.
A really long time.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But yeah, first year of marriage was interesting.
It was rough.
It was very rough.
Yeah, and we had rough I think every marriage has its rough patches throughout the years. You know what I mean?
How would you, categorize our rough patches? Like if you could break it down, okay, this was the worst. That was I
think it was just a lot of the mental health stuff that sucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trying to figure out what it is, how do I deal with it, all the things. You feeling like you're having to be like a caretaker or to try to fix it or, whatever, caregiving, whatever. What is that called?
Caretaking fatigue or something.
Yeah. And then you wanted to take a break and then you'd be separated because of mental health shit. And
the break was so stupid. The break wasn't even, remember we went to that, you suggested we go to this
couples thing in
couples thing in Arizona. It was this very holistic spiritual thing. And I remember that's where I got remember we were talking to that first girl we ever talked to.
Yeah.
And she was talking about these certain things, and I kept coming back to the conclusion, we just need to separate for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, two people as individuals, we need to separate. And not separate and break up, but, I get... What I got from what she was saying was, a break. And I'm like, all right. And I don't know. It was hard. I got it. I understood what she was saying, but at the same time, when we executed it, I was like, this is so stupid.
I know. You, bought a whole bed and a different mattress and everything.
Well, I was staying at the other house.
Yeah, you're staying at the other house.
Renovating the other house.
And then he would come over and spend the night all the time. Anyways, I'm like, this is fucking pointless. And then he would leave, and then I'd cry and be upset and thinking he's going to leave me and all the things. And
it's crazy because I inside did not want to leave. But I kept telling myself, wait, though, you made this commitment. You said it out loud. You're going to separate and do this 30-day thing.
Yeah, for what?
I don't know, really.
Exactly. It was a waste of fucking time.
It was a waste of time. But, I won't say a waste of time because what it did reveal to me was I should have followed my gut. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Follow your gut with what?
I should have followed my gut and just not did it.
I don't know. I felt like when we were going through that period of time too, with the whole separation. I remember talking to people and being like, I wonder if this is something with him, like you have to have some form of like chaos in your life for life to feel normal and natural.
I don't
like
know.
That's kind of how I felt was during that time, and I'm like, maybe he just needs like, because things were like going smooth. I was out of treatment, I was doing better, all the things, and then all of a sudden it was like, kapow, here's this now, and you're pregnant on top of it. And I was like, it was just like so much.
I wonder if the pregnancy triggered that thought process, because in a way, because I was like, all right, like I knew that I had to dive into certain stuff when you were gone, and like, okay, like how do I handle, it was hard to handle my own shit inside while simultaneously feeling like I need to walk on eggshells because you're a newly released.
No, I get it.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to. Oh, okay. How? Like, so I knew I had to like bring it up eventually and talk about like the feelings I was having, but I didn't want to like ruin any progress you made. Or, you know what I'm saying?
And
like,
it's important for you to be able to share however you were feeling, or or whatever was going on.
Well, it just felt like almost like my issues weren't like. They weren't a priority, or they didn't as matter as much as yours, or like if I had any slight, like disagreement, or not disagreement, any slight like annoyed with anything, it was like I wasn't allowed to feel that way. I wasn't allowed to feel frustrated. I wasn't allowed to feel.
Like I made you feel that way, or
it wasn't necessarily you. It was more or less like I don't know. I think just being the caretaker, quote unquote, whatever, and then feeling like okay, I almost gotta like caretake you a little bit too, because you just got out of treatment and like you were so sensitive and vulnerable, and I was like, when is the right time to talk about how I'm feeling? I guess like when is the right time to talk about this, because
I feel like it's a hard conversation.
It wasn't fair. You just got out. Like, what am I supposed to do? You get out and I'm like, hey, by the way. But yeah, like, it was. I didn't know how to. Like, I didn't know when the time was right to talk about it. Yeah. So I think a part of me was like, okay, we're just gonna like, everything's good until. Eventually you just gotta like speak or whatever. So
no, and I can understand. Because I think what I was going through at that time was very severe and was very big and huge. So I can get why you thought how you felt like that yours weren't being prioritized and stuff. Which that's shitty. You shouldn't have to feel like that. You know what I mean?
But do you remember when I brought it up to you about like, oh, this is what the therapist is saying and all that stuff, and you were like very like, like I got the vibe immediately. Like it was, you were not.
Brought up what?
When our therapist brought up, okay, this is what we should do. I can't remember what it was. We should do some certain stuff, and you were like, just like immediately, like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And it was like, it was almost like your treatment and your stuff was allowed, and it was good, and there's no reason to question it. But when I went to my therapist and brought the stuff that they brought to me back to you, to whatever, it was like met with rejection, and that's what made me feel like, okay, maybe mine isn't as Well,
I'm sorry.
No,
I
know it's happened a while ago. No, I know.
But no, I do remember thinking, I'm like, your therapist just fucking hates me. Secretly, she hates me. She does not like me.
And I think that is wrong, because I think that also made like you reject what her opinions were, or what her suggestions were. Well, yeah, because I was like, what the fuck? You want to separate? Like, she doesn't fucking live here. She just doesn't even like me. I'm just talking about in that mindset at that time. But see, and it's funny because you're sitting here thinking the therapist doesn't like you, so she's out to get you, or whatever the case, or whatever it was. And then I'm over here like, wow, you just don't care about my stuff. You're the main victim. You're the priority.
And that wasn't my mind thought at that time.
But do you get why I would feel that way?
Yeah, no, I did.
Because when I brought it up to you, you were immediately just like, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
And I think because subconsciously it brings up a trigger of mine for sure about definite love being like abandoned by the people that love me. Who knows? I'm just like talking, trying, or whatever. But I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like when you have people who are going through very severe mental illness, and sometimes for the first time, like them feeling like their mental health is prioritized over the other person's, and that's not fair at all.
Yeah, it was weird to like navigate how to like bring it up. Yeah,
I'll never forget when I found out I was pregnant with Vaeda. Came in the door because I went to the hospital to get a blood test done. Came into the door and I'm like, yep. And he was just sitting on the counter drinking a fifth of Jägermeister, and I was like, oh like, no,
son of a bitch. I just knew it wasn't the right time. I think like it just wasn't the right time. And I think even you knew that wasn't the right time. You just got to treat everything was just so fresh and raw, and we still had so much other stuff going on. That
we should have been using birth control.
I don't know what was wrong with those. I don't understand.
Obviously, we wanted to have another baby because
you're right. I don't know. I don't know why. What was
But also, like, when she was born and, like, we were in a great place, too.
Yeah.
And it's been great ever since. You know what I mean? Like,
so I almost feel like her pregnancy really was, like, a catalyst for, your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Her, like, you know, you being pregnant with her was a catalyst. So like, all right, listen, Tyler, you can't be silent no more. New baby's coming. Like, you can't be worried that because then I remember my therapist saying that, like, you have to give her the respect to know how to handle hard stuff.
Okay. And
I was like, okay, but how rude of it is me to tell her how I feel when she just got a treatment. She's all, you know what I mean? And I remember her being like, no, like it's like she's got enough work, she's got enough tools, she's got enough stuff on herself that she, you know, she can handle this. She you know, you give her enough respect to be able to handle it. And I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, which obviously was hard and it was sad for me for sure. But I was like, all right, if he's gonna go sleep at the house alone, I guess go for it. You know,
it was it was actually the worst time ever because I just got on that little crappy day bed and was like, curled up like, this is stupid. And I remember thinking in my head, like, and it makes me think though. It's like, listen, like I know that our generation is more self-aware and we're going to therapy.
Thank God.
And which is a great thing. It's a good thing. It's honestly a great thing. On the flip side of that, though, it's like there are times I think when I hear something the therapist says, I'm like it doesn't align with me. And usually
like, it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right for me. I get why you think that as a therapist and you're telling me this and like, oh, I get why that would apply maybe someone else. But to me inside, it doesn't feel that way. I think it goes back to, remember when you said something about like your therapist mentioned like doing a something with your mom, and I'm like, you know, like having an ultimatum or whatever. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah. About her, like she has to have so many days sober
before
like,
you even like do this. I remember thinking in your head like, I don't know, my therapist. I'm like, I need to have so many days sober. I'm like, does that fit with you?
Right.
And you were like, no. I'm like, okay, then you know what? Like, if it's creating more stress for you, thinking about, okay, I need to make. It just puts too much pressure sometimes, and if the therapist's advice doesn't align with you,
and then I think it goes, but also I think that I feel like it's also up to the patient then too. Like if it doesn't fit with you, saying like that doesn't really feel good to me. Like, is there a different way I could go about it that feels right for me?
You're right.
But still doing it in the positive way or setting good boundaries or whatever. But yeah, I think that, you know, in those moments is when you say, well, that doesn't really feel good for me.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know that in therapy, like, you're in the driver's seat too. So, like, this person is a professional, but at the same time, they're giving you this advice and this kind of based off of what your needs are. So you say your need, like, hey, that doesn't fit with me.
Right.
That makes me really uncomfortable. And maybe
I bet you they will give you another opportunity that does the thing that you're trying to get done, but in a way that feels comfortable for you.
Yes, I remember even Dr. Drew, or I think it was him, who suggested having a funeral for my dad. And I remember being like, absolutely not.
Yeah, you're like, no,
I'm
that's
like,
weird.
that doesn't fit with me.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
And then you found out what works for you and what feels good for you, so that way you don't ever have any regrets in the future.
But I think some people have a hard time, like, oh my therapist said this, I should do this. That's
what I'm saying. Speak up and say, no, that doesn't feel right to me, or I think we can do that a different way, because
and I think it's hard to balance it because you don't know if you're uncomfortable. Is that the whole point? The therapist wants you to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Well, change is uncomfortable. Yeah. Right. It is hard to kind of.
Like,
that's why I mean, like, speaking up and telling them, like, that doesn't feel right to me. I bet you they have a different something.
Yeah, you have to almost have a balance of like your own intuition and this guided advice. It's not concrete. It's not written law. The therapist is telling you.
No.
And like, if it doesn't feel right, you're right. Just tell a therapist, no, that ain't gonna work for me.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
But I would have to say, so, like, you know, ever since the, like, mental health stuff, though, that we went through, I mean, things have been really good. I think we learned a lot about each other. I think we, you know, how to navigate through life and talk about things. And
what do you think about that? Was Vaeda. I mean, she's 6. So it's like
gonna be 7 years soon.
7 pretty soon. So that was 7 years ago.
Longer.
I mean, yeah.
8,
so it's
9 years ago.
True, because you were pregnant with her. So I think it's one of those things where like actually Becky asked me the question like, how do you keep your relationship so strong when kids enter the mix? Because I told her when I was talking to her for her podcast, I was like, hey, like I think it's really naive to think that it's like. People have had this dream of like, oh, it's me and my person. I love him so much. We're just gonna add a little baby that is like me and her.
It is
together.
cute.
Oh my god, that's it. It's like no. Everything changes.
It really
Your
does.
dynamic changes. Scheduling changes. Effort, mood, just everything changes with the
anything,
child.
you have to talk even more.
Yeah,
you don't want to build resentment.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a totally different. It changes everything. So I think like even with Vaeda, like Nova's experience of being a parent was different and hard. And then Vaeda was like, it's just crazy when you think about it. Like, dang.
Well, I feel like too, because I mean, this is our first time ever being parents and ever living life. So it's like, yeah, they always say that your children always get a different version of you, which is so true. Like I was a different parent with Nova. I'm a different parent with Vaeda. I was a different parent with Raya. Still all the same morals and values, but it's just I've learned along the way.
Well, and also it's like, I think every child's going to get a different parent. Yeah. Because you're at a different stage in life. When you had this one, things are different now. With the second one, they're not. None of these children are going to get the same exact parent. Right. Even if you have them, 3 years apart, like that first child's going to have a different experience as you as a parent than the second born child or the
right.
third.
And like I said, you still have like the same beliefs and evering. It's just it's hard to.
But you're at a different understanding of life, and
I think like. Like how you were talking with Becky or whatever, like it is harder to be like a husband and a wife when you have so many kids and routines and things going on. It's just you have to make time for that.
Yeah, and I think it's weird too because I think people can take it too far where they're like, oh, you have to like prioritize spouse over child, and I'm like, I understand it to a specific point, but at the same time. I am a parent and you're a parent of the same kid. So I know for a fact I would much rather if subconsciously we could just like telepathically talk to each other like, hey, I want you to take care of the kid before you even think about taking care of me. Do you know what I'm saying? But then I hear other people go, oh no, like you need to treat your spouse first and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like me and you are different. Like I like, it's almost like, oh, save the spouse before you save the kids. Like, it's not happening.
I know.
It's not happening.
Would you do? Right.
Because I know you would want me to save the kid first.
Yeah.
So I will not.
I'll try to save
Do you know what I'm
myself
saying? Yes.
You're saving the
that's what I mean. And this whole thing, like, oh, like, I can't remember where it was from, but I believe it was from scripture or something where it's like, oh, the boat is sinking. And then, the husband saves the wife saves the husband, whatever. And then they save the kids. And I'm in my head, I'm like,
that's twisted.
Like, I get what you're saying, but also I know my wife would not want me to save her over our kids.
Yeah,
I know you would want me to save the kids first,
for sure.
and then if I can save you, I will. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
But like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like people think they're just going to add a little baby in the mix, and no, it changes everything.
I think because I remember even with Carly, but then even more so with Nova. Like I remember when she was born, and just like. The few even just seconds and minutes afterwards, the world looked completely different to me.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody can understand that until they become a parent. Like everything how I ever thought of the world, thought of myself, thought of everything, it completely fucking changed. Yep. And the world actually became a very scary place.
Yeah. Remember I told you how whoa, I never realized that all it would take, I mean, I'm the weakest person on the planet because all you have to do if you snatch my kid up and hold a gun to their head and tell me to fucking bite my tongue off, I'm going to bite my fucking... cut your arm off, bitch. I will cut my arm off because you just have my kid in your arms. So it's like, dude, you don't realize how vulnerable you are till you have kids.
Yeah, it changes your whole perspective.
Everything.
Yeah. And so, of course, that's going to change how you are like in a relationship too. You know what I mean?
Parenting's hard.
Did Becky say they're doing good though?
Oh yeah, she was like everything. Yeah, she said that everything's great and
that's good. He's a cutie.
Yeah. What?
I'm working. Speaking of the devils.
Oh my god! All
Hold
right,
on.
pause.
Sorry for the intermission.
Kids. Back to school though.
I can't wait.
I know. I can't wait either.
I cannot wait for school.
With kids during it's interesting.
Well, it's difficult.
Yeah.
We don't have babysitters and a bunch of help, you know. Your niece moved out, so there goes that.
But it was funny when you were gone, I was like, man, I wonder, like, so many things that I think about, like, if I would have known certain stuff about myself back then, what would have been different? Would my reaction have been different, or my thought process would have been different?
Well, of course.
You know, like, would I have, like, paused more with certain, would I have, like, I don't know.
Well, because we grow and we learn, of course. We'd be different. 10 years and a lifetime to go there, honey.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, if I would have known about my stuff, if being autistic or being on the spectrum, would that have changed my therapy?
For sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
you just jumped right into that, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's because I just got me thinking, like, wow, there's so many things that could have been.
Okay, but you need to start from the beginning.
Of what?
Like, what even made you want to go and see if you were autistic?
Because Vaeda.
Okay.
Because seeing her, like, growing up, my mom was just so focused on me not having meltdowns and just being, you know, so that I just thought, oh, I'm just a ADHD hyper kid, whatever. All my behavioral issues in school is just because I'm pretty much can't control myself, or whatever the hell it was. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but then like watching Vaeda and just like, okay, like,
and all her school stuff that her teachers
yeah, and I'm a little bit more of a present parent, I think, than my mom could have been back then. You know what I mean? So with more knowledge about this kind of stuff, so I'm like, oh wow, like maybe, like, you know, just seeing so many things in Vaeda that I'm like, oh my god, I get why she's doing that. Or oh my god, when I was a kid, I remember doing that and thinking and like wondering, why doesn't anyone understand what I'm saying or how important this stupid little thing is to me? You know what I mean? Which first thing I noticed is that small things that should not be a big deal are huge deal to her.
Oh, to Vaeda?
Yeah. Like it could be the ponytail's not right in the thing.
No, I mean, for instance, her nighttime routine is very much like, I have to put the eye mask on her head. We have to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I have to give her a kiss and a hug. And then, you know, it's like, and even the one night she was like, opens her door. Mom, you didn't put my face mask on. I said, you know how to put it on. Put it on. No, you have to put it on. And I was like, okay. So I went in there and I put it on. So yeah, she's just very like, and I think you're right. Like going through her school stuff and everything too, I think it probably brought some awareness to you too, because we're learning about Vaeda and who she is as a person and what helps her succeed.
In her difficulties in school. And it's like, dude, I was kicked out of school.
Yeah,
multiple
thankfully she
daycares.
doesn't have that problem. Yeah.
No, right, but multiple daycares just kicked out. Like not said, hey, you should probably get your son checked out. It was just like, he's crazy, get him out of here.
Well, because I think people, and I think it's wrong. I think it's because like culturally we look at autism as like they have to be severely autistic for it to even come to their mind, when it's like that's not the case at all. It's a spectrum for a reason. And
I think, like, I don't know, I just remember going through life thinking, okay, everyone's probably dealing with the same thing that I am. And we're not. And we're not. You would ask me
things, I'm like, no, my mind does not do that. No, I don't do that. No, and you're like, what?
I know. It's just like, dude, like how? Oh, it blows my mind to think like
that's like the one time we were laying in bed. He's like, does your brain ever just be like silent, like nothing is running through it or like saying anything? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what? Like there could just be nothing there. And I'm like, yeah.
Like just like even just watching something, and I can almost tell that you're able to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember being a younger kid and watching and being like, oh, okay. Like I think it makes sense why caffeine just didn't affect me. Why certain stuff, just behavioral things didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. And it wasn't that I could just, my mom's biggest thing, just shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth and listen.
Right.
And it was like in my mind though, it was like, it was impossible. It's almost like I didn't have my sleeping mask on. You didn't put it on. You know what I mean? So now I'm in the middle. I'm like freaking out. It's like a thing. It's like, it's this, it totally like overrides your whole thought process.
But then I remember also before you got tested for autism, you looked up the statistic of like people being diagnosed as bipolar, but it's really autism, right?
It's high.
So it's just a misdiagnosis.
Misdiagnosis, ADHD and bipolar.
And you've been diagnosed with both, right?
Like, and I remember them telling me that I was bipolar and just feeling inside, like, this doesn't sit with me because I'm like, the mood swings are the only thing that hit the mark for me. Well, I mean, like, but you know, like bipolar's biggest thing is like maniac episodes and coming down and being this low thing for a while and coming up and being euphoric and all this stuff. And I remember thinking, like, I just never felt like I had that big of extremes.
Which I don't think you do either.
Do you know what
as
I
far
mean?
as like the super highs and then super, super lows.
Yeah.
Like, you're not like that.
But it was the mood swings that the only thing that got me. And so in my head, and then when I was talking to the lady and she was like, well, it's because...
You were talking to what lady?
The lady who was giving me the test and talking for weeks, or that woman who did
for the
whole
autism?
Yes, the whole diagnosis. And she was talking about how... she's like, your mood swings are based off of things not going right in your weird little routine, so that I won't be able to understand. Your wife will never be able to understand fully. She's like, you can explain as much as you can about how these things operate in your head and how when one thing is just off, it just, and she's like, so these mood swings come across as in like, oh, you just got something just really frustrated you real quick. And it's like, it's always felt more than that. And remember you asked me, what's wrong with you? And I remember being like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah. And I'm like, how do you not know? Nothing even happened and you're just mad.
And it's like, I think because I wasn't paying attention close enough to what was off that made me that extreme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, when you ask me what's wrong, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that I'm just really frustrated. Yeah. All out of nowhere.
So obviously you did the test and everything, and she came back saying that you were on the spectrum.
Oh yeah,
right?
She was like, she's like, but what's really common for your age and being a late, early adult kind of diagnosis is that I ranked super high in masking, which she's like, what you've done is you've dissected all the things socially growing up, and she's like, and you know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. She's like, that's what makes you not on the other extreme side of this. Okay, to where you have to be a certain way to fit in or to seem normal or whatever, and socially. Okay, and so you do that. She's like, but inside is just a chaotic anxiety storm. And it doesn't come across externally because you've done so much. You're 30. You've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, which is crazy because I remember even being like younger and stuff. Like you were friends with everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody liked Ty. Like,
but it was because I was extroverted. I almost like took being an extrovert as in like to the extreme. Yeah. And I remember talking about how like, well, inside I would be like just a tornado of anxiety and freaking out and worried about all this stuff. And then when I got to the thing that I was anticipating, I would just
very expressive.
Boom.
And,
like it was my only way to get out of it. If I didn't do it, if I didn't enter and do that, I would retreat.
Like me.
Yeah. And I wouldn't do it. And she's like, yeah, that's your coping strategy that's called masking. She's like, you've done this really well. And then she was also talking about like certain hobbies that I had about reading random stuff.
Oh yeah, you get like super into certain things. Like,
and she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, yeah. So she's like, that's probably why
he'll get in rabbit holes out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Up till 4 a.m, fucking looking at crazy shit.
Like I'll get like into something so really quickly, and I'll like digest so much information about that thing. And then I move on and do something else. And she was like, that's probably why you're harder to detect because you speak about things that you've learned and you're so broad, not you're like not even close to being an expertise in anything. You're just have so much sliver of knowledge of randomness.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A whole bunch of things.
Yeah, it's like that you apply socially so that way it doesn't seem like anything's wrong with you.
Which is interesting because, like, your dad's very much like that. Like, when he gets into a group of people, he's very overly extroverted and stuff, too, which
almost
is interesting.
Like, and I remember being a kid and being like, you're obnoxious, you're loud. Like,
about yourself?
Yes. And I'm like, well, I feel like I need to be that way.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, everybody loved you growing up. I mean, Ty would hang out with the jocks, the goths, the dorks, you know what I mean? Those, everybody.
But I think it's interesting because that's what got me so interested in just reading about sociology. Because the study of social beings is so interesting. And she was like, it's because that's you trying to figure out the best way to live in it, to be in it. You can't survive in this world without being a social creature. And you figure that out very young, and we all do. And so that's what you've done.
So what did it feel? I mean, what did it feel like when you got the diagnosis back that you are on the spectrum? Did it make sense? Did it make a lot of things make sense?
It felt like a big sigh of relief. And then I got really sad, and I was like, wow.
You got really sad?
Yeah, because I just thought about all the stuff I went through as a kid. And just I felt so sad for that little kid who just went and just was like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Something's wrong. Why am I not normal? Why is this so easily for other people?
Right, and probably why can't I just shut up?
And I even talked to her when we were talking, and I was like, there are certain things that I felt like I needed to do as a kid that just didn't fit with me. I wanted to draw. My mom's like, you need to do baseball. I wanted to create stories with my action figures, and I knew I didn't fit. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I didn't fit in with. I tried baseball. It didn't work for me.
Yeah,
and it just made so much sense of why. But see, I look back at when I was a kid. I'm like, wow, poor kid. You just thought something was wrong with you. Why am I not liking this stuff that normal people like? Why am I obsessing about body language? Why am I focusing on everyone in the corner of the room and hyper fixating on strangers? Do you know what I mean? Trying to assess my thing. Why? No one else does this, and it drove me. I'm like, when I found out that not everyone does it that way, I'm like, what?
And I think it's and I think it's normal, and it's okay to feel sad for your younger self. But I think that also it wasn't as known about when we were younger. You know what I mean?
But it makes sense. Think about how many times have we gone throughout life, and Tyler, you're too harsh, you're too abrasive. You can't just say stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And so even growing up, it's dude, just saying things unfiltered, I don't even think about what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm just
and that's always been a problem with yours.
It has. And I'm like, dude, and I remember thinking why am I like this? Why can't I understand that would be
hard or
yeah. Because in my head, I'm like, what's so difficult about it? That you have gray hair,
right? I'm just being
or whatever. Or I'm
yeah.
just being what's the big deal? And I think just learning how to balance all that is stressful. And
so do they so when you get a diagnosis of being autistic and stuff, do they give
I
you
have the report?
Well, no, but do they give you any things you have to do after the fact of finding you're autistic? Finding out, is there specific therapies that you should do?
They have a lot of they give me a lot of suggestions and stuff to read and that kind of stuff, but I'm not diving too deep into it because I know for a fact when I told her this, I said, listen, I've been dealing with this my whole life. I've been in my own brain. It's the only one I've been in.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, it's draining, but it's all I've known. So I'm not gonna dive too deep into this. I am who I am.
Yeah, but what if there were ways to make it not so exhausting and
there's
a
not.
lot in your brain?
There's not.
Why? How?
There's just not. I could do multiple. I could try multiple different things, but it's just the way my brain works. And so instead of trying to fix it, I'm just like, okay, let's just live with this thing. And I think knowing this information makes me better aware. And I think about going back to I was talking about therapy. How different would it have been if I'd been because I remember saying stuff to my therapist and being like, whoa, weird, interesting. Sketch, whatever. Right now, whatever. They would. The last thing the girl said was she's like, sometimes you you speak try to speak so intelligently because when you're about to say something not very nice. And I'm like, oh, and she's like, I think about, if I would have known that. And then talking to that girl who was doing the thing with me, she's like, yeah, that's you trying to rinse through your
that is you though.
Yeah, you can't you try to be more diplomatic.
Yeah,
you try to be very diplomatic because I'm going to say something that your hair
might hurt your feelings.
Your hair is gray.
Right.
I don't think it's a big deal. You think so? I'm going to be so we age, and you try to over explain.
Right.
When I'm going to say something a little might be possibly
hurtful,
or
truthful,
or hard
hurtful.
or hard to hear, or I don't know, it's weird. And
so does that make you think should we get Vaeda tested?
I think we definitely should.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
But then what does that what is there classes and stuff that parents can take
to
teach us how to deal with since she is so fixated on certain things, or when things don't go right she gets angry.
I think what it comes down to is that, and I think going back to when I was a kid, what I needed the most was just a clear explanation. You can't tell me because this is how it is. Oh, this is just how it is. Oh, this is the way the world works. It's no. You know what I'm saying? So I think for Vaeda, it's knowing that okay, she has to be explained in detail until I can't explain it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She needs that thorough explanation.
Yeah, she does. Oh my God.
Because some people like, and I remember being a kid and people used to think like you're so defiant and you know, you just don't listen to rules. And it's like, I'll listen to any rule that makes sense.
Yeah, but not all rules are going to make sense to people.
Then you shouldn't have the rule. You
Not
understand?
how fucking life works, Tyler.
Well, it is in my head.
No, yeah,
you understand?
That doesn't work.
Okay, well, okay. Why do you make a rule?
To protect people.
Okay, great. So you should be able to explain a rule that can protect somebody and the reason why it's in place.
Yeah.
So yes, all rules should have an explanation of why. If you cannot explain why that rule is in place, then that rule has no merit. It's not valid. It's pointless. What is the point? We don't need the rule then because there's no cause for the rule to be.
I mean,
I
get what you're saying.
So I told them this a couple days ago. Actually, I said, listen, I said, I don't care who it is, a teacher, cop, whatever. If they say this is how it is, you have a right to say, explain to me why. And you don't accept answers like because I said so, because it's how it is. That's a lazy answer, and you challenge that adult, your peer, whoever it is, to explain.
And Nova's got a lot of me in it, where she's not going to push the envelope. She would just be like, okay,
that's what you said. And see, that as a kid, I was looked at as defiant when really all I was looking for was explanation.
Right, like clarification
just
of it.
clarify with me why this is the way it is. And that rarely happened, I felt like, as a kid. So then I would just freak out, and I would be like, this doesn't make any sense.
And you know what's crazy? I feel like our generation, too, there's a lot more adults that are getting diagnosed being on the spectrum.
I just read an article that scientists are believing that it could be a trace back to Neanderthal. It could be an actual mutation in genes.
Really?
From a Neanderthal days.
The autism?
Yes.
But I wonder what makes it such... I wonder, what makes... Because I'm not fully, 100% educated in it, but, my cousin's kid's autistic. We know autistic kids, things like that. But, what makes it such a spectrum where some are just more severe and then others are super high functioning? What?
Well, I think it kind of goes down to Down syndrome, for example. That's very someone could be have, you know what I mean? It's just how it is.
It's interesting, isn't it though? Because it's how can one person be super high functioning but still have autistic tendencies and be on the spectrum, and then you have some people who can't live on their own, even with autism, right. And then you have others who can totally have a family and succeed and do things in life and still, that's kind of crazy.
Could go your whole life thinking you're just ADHD,
right?
Temper guy. You know what I mean? When really it's so I don't know. And
I think there's people out there too that are they're just heavy diagnosing it or whatever. And I'm like, no, I think we're just becoming more educated about it and realizing maybe autism is more around than we've ever known, more people have it.
I think when people say, oh, you're overdiagnosing stuff, and I'm like, well, overdiagnosing something isn't really it's not gonna create a huge problem, in my opinion, because we're just still learning about stuff. It's like when the COVID first came out. This was now we learn. You learn as things go on. So if you don't want to trust somebody that they're overdiagnosed, then don't trust them. But then don't cry about it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. Don't even be concerned about it because you're not going to believe these people.
Do you think you got your autism from your vaccines? Sorry, I just had to say it. There's these fucking
definitely
people.
Not. My earliest memory is in the crib ripping wallpaper off, having a temper tantrum.
Yeah, that's
and I remember
crazy.
When I was younger, food can't touch. It was just I had to stop myself from doing somersaults.
For you, yeah.
I was addicted to it. It was something wrong with me. People don't even get it. You don't understand. I had to, and
your mom thought something was wrong with you.
I did talk to the girl about that. I said, well, I had times where I was a kid and I would somersault, and she even was like, what, can you talk about that more? I'm like, sure. I'd walk in the door, drop the backpack off of my arm, and I would roll. And I would roll on hard floor, off couches, and do a somersault, and I would never walk.
When you were in your house, right, you just never walked. You just rolled everywhere.
But I would walk everywhere else. I knew it wasn't acceptable. Okay. Even though I remember going to school and getting I would get the urge. It was a trigger. Yes. Oh. I get on my desk you can't.
And was it hard for you to force that to
yes,
not do it?
I had to literally, it was like fighting, I swear it's like fighting an addict as a kid, where it was I had to be I walk through a door or something, or I get off the couch. I'd be like, huh? And I would, oh, no, you can't roll. You are grown and you can't roll. And I remember thinking in my head, you can't roll because.
What triggered that, you think? Rolling
I was
everywhere.
I was so into action movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was, and like, dude, it makes so much. I would always repeat and I would watch movies over and over again. Like no kidding, like rewind the tape. Like, and Amber, my sister, would get pissed. Like, oh my God. And I would watch it, and I would watch it as intently as I did the first time I ever watched it. I'd memorize films, and I would go and I would like do the whole skit, and I was all into like that action shit. So then once I started rolling, I don't know, it's something about it just like.
What made you stop? Was it your mom that said you had to stop?
Yes, she was like, Tyler. Something is going on. And I was like, dude.
I haven't seen you walk in months.
No, yeah. And my mom was like, and I remember being like, Mom, I know something's wrong. Like, I knew.
You're like, I'm struggling at school. I want to roll and I can't. That's crazy.
Dude, I knew something was wrong with me.
I had some in my eyeball.
So I knew it. And she was like, you can't do that no more. And I'm like, you're right. I can't do that no more. I know I can't roll. I can't somersault everywhere.
Was she like thinking about taking you to a therapist or something?
So she was like, you got to go somewhere and figure this out. Like you're OCD or something. Like you know what I'm saying?
Because you're rolling around everywhere.
Stop rolling everywhere. And one of my sister's friends came over after a couple months or whatever, and he was like, dude, I thought your brother was handicapped. I thought he walked. I didn't know he fucking. I swear, he was like, I did not know he could walk. I thought he was like a perma roller. Like he just permanently rolled everywhere because he had issues. Because Amber was like, he has issues. You know what I'm saying?
And then
so
this
like,
kid sees you walk, and he's like, what the fuck,
Tyler? What the hell's going on?
Oh,
and I remember thinking
dead.
like how weird because some of her friends were extra like, hey Ty, like,
oh yeah.
And I remember being like,
they thought something was really wrong with you. Oh my God, because you're just rolling around everywhere.
And like, yeah, so I think that's what it came from. Action movies and just rolling and somersault, and I would act it out. And then I don't know, I couldn't stop.
It sounds like, how you're explaining it, like with the whole movies and watching them on repeat and all of those things. I mean, that makes sense. That sounds like somebody with autism. I mean, it really, you know what I mean?
It's
like
crazy.
being how they get very interested in things.
And then my mom, I would go and print stuff off, and I would run and read these random stuff. My mom's like, "What's going on?" And I would like, you know, I still do it today. I get hyper obsessed about subjects.
Yeah, you do.
And like, it's crazy.
And I wonder,
It's insane.
is autism like? It's not hereditary, is it?
Yeah.
Do we know?
Yes, they believe that it is hereditary. Yeah.
Because it just makes me think of like your dad. Like your dad has been diagnosed bipolar.
I know.
And things like that.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was like, so what do you do? And I'm like, well, I smoke weed. And she's like, that's like, it was just so common. All the things that you try to do to feel like once you find something undiagnosed, like, oh my God, what makes you feel a sliver? Oh, this is how other people are. Or this is more, oh, this makes me more whatever, functional, slow down, whatever. I don't think about things as much. And that's what you do. You try to like almost, you know, like I
almost want to I want to Google that, like, because I mean it's interesting. I mean I'm married to an autistic person. I don't know. You know, like I have autistic children.
No,
but I'm just
I'll
saying
be
about,
honest
like,
with you.
I think
For anyone who has gotten like diagnosed or anything, like reading the report is a very, because every report's going to be different for each individual, but it's a really kind of surreal, intense experience to read yourself. Read it from a like myself on a piece of paper with all these things.
It says that autism is hereditary and therefore it does run in families. Oh wow. A majority, around 80% of autism cases can be linked to inherited genetic mutations. That's crazy.
Yes. Which is why they're thinking that they're tracing it all the way back to Neanderthal. It could be like a mutation in Neanderthals that we kept breeding. And
but it says too, like a lot of them have difficulties understanding social cues, which you don't.
No,
but some people do.
Well,
that's
I talked to her about that.
Right?
She said, and I thought it was so interesting because when she asked me the question, do you, like I had to fill out all this stuff, and do you understand social cues? And it was like, because I studied them. Oh. Does that make sense? It's not because I genuinely feel, oh no, it's like, oh, there it is. Which is why I was so hyper focused on studying body language and whatever.
People that don't know normal social cues just irk you to the core.
To the fullest.
Like we had this friend. So we had this friend, you guys, like that would never leave the house, like when we were younger. And like he would come over and stuff and be there like all day. And then finally it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm gonna go take a shower. you know, and I would say it out loud, and then I'd get out of the shower and he's still sitting on the couch. And Tyler, he's like,
those
dude,
social cues. I said, it is night. There are crickets going on. I said, I'm going to take a shower, I guess. I mean, even as an autistic person, I'm like, oh, social cue, gotta go.
You're right.
They're saying they gotta take a shower. Like,
so I wonder if that's why it irks you so much too, but people don't get
and guys, I think, I don't know if it's because I'm so hyper focused on it, but like, there are so many people who miss them. The social cues, and it just drives me up the wall.
But it's interesting too, because I remember even like with them saying that it can be hereditary, that it is hereditary. Actually, that's what it says. Is I remember when Vaeda being even little, like baby little, and like I don't know, Nova just did things, and I know every kid is different. And that's what I always told myself. But like Nova was just like how kind of how Raya is, like talking, using like just crazy words, and Vaeda. And I remember I used to always check because they say like some autistic kids won't like listen to their names, and when they're babies they don't give you smiles, and she would do all those things. So then I would like second guess myself and be like, no, there's not. But with it being a spectrum, it's like I remember when we used to say like, why isn't she talking? I mean, she didn't talk until she was like 4.
Yeah,
you know, she wouldn't really talk. She would use like different, I don't know, like cues that I knew what it meant.
She learned.
Yeah. But she would I remember there was a point in her life where she would just get overly frustrated when we didn't understand what she was trying to say.
Huge.
And it would like frustrate her so much to where she would become angry and like cry and scream because
have a fit.
Yeah, because we weren't understanding what she was saying. And I mean, I'm thankful for like the elementary school we're in and the community that we're in, because they've done a lot. Like Vaeda has grown so much. Oh yeah. And it's because of putting things in place. Yep. But it just makes me think, I'm like, wow, we should probably really get her tested.
Here's what makes me sad though, is that those things that were taking precautions with Vaeda, I was labeled as ODD, oppositional defiance disorder. I was labeled as ADHD. I was you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anger kid, bad kid, just bad behavior.
I could see how people could do that.
Yes, you could, can't you? Because she gets to the point where I go, oh my God, this kid's just a bad kid.
She's just crazy.
Yeah, she's just, she's not paying attention. She's wild. Yeah. She's feral.
Right.
And that's why I remember being a younger kid and being fed that as a kid
you start to think
so
that
much. I'm like,
yourself.
okay, I'm just a feral kid. Well, I'm a wild kid. Whatever, you know what I mean? And you identify yourself like that.
And I think parents need to be cautious of like, don't say things in front of your children like that, because same thing, like when I was growing up, people used to always call my sister the devil's child. You know what I mean? And like, kids are not dumb. And, and I've learned even just like from, being with you and learning about you as we've, been married and been together. But it's just like, of course you're going to think that you're the crazy kid and the hard-to-handle kid and the angry kid and the, you know what I mean? Because that's all you were hearing around you from the adults around you. To me. Yeah.
And also watching other kids not be like me. I think it'd be different if I saw other kids acting like me all the time. You know what I mean? But I didn't.
So it made a lot of things make sense.
Vaeda really helped me. She inspired me to go, I'm like, listen, like, I kept thinking in my head and hearing the same things people were saying about Vaeda. Like, she's just so stuck in her way. She's so stubborn. She's all this. And it's like, they're already starting to label the kid. You're already doing it. Like, you're already like. And
I remember when she was little, and because she would get very angry and stuff. Yeah. And I remember we used a word. We wouldn't even say the negative words.
No.
And, one of our friends actually helped us with that, and she was like, why don't you use the word spunky? And I'm like, spunky, you're right, And so then we would always say fiery, like, because when people would like say something about us to Vaeda, and if Veda's around, I'm like, no, she's just spunky. Yeah. She's got a lot of fire.
Yeah, and fire,
And I think one day, and I say to this day, I'm like, that girl, when she gets older, something nobody's gonna walk all over her. Like,
true.
She's gonna be fucking unstoppable, because she knows what she wants. She's gonna get it, and she's gonna have her routine in place to do it. And so we just you spin it into a positive, like, oh, she's so stubborn and crazy. It's like, no, she's spunky, and she knows what she wants in life, and she's gonna do whatever she needs to do to get it. Like,
and I think it's easy when you know that this is what they're dealing with. You just try to make it make sense for them in their world.
But to say that it's not overwhelming and hard.
It is. I know, babe.
It is. But I think it helps. I think, like, even just with you getting the diagnosis and just seeing how she is, I think it does help, for me to, like, step back and be like, okay, it's because she stepped in fucking dog slobber and it pissed her the fuck off because she struggles with sensory stuff. Yeah, no. And you know what I mean? So it's just like, okay.
There's more empathy. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like her and Raya were fighting the other day in their bedroom about playing Barbies together, and some days I'll be like, oh my gosh, you guys just play together, whatever. But I went in there and I like sat them both down and with Vaeda, and I was like, listen, we just have to play kind, and sometimes people don't want to play with each other. And I had this whole conversation with them, and Vaeda was sitting on my lap crying, and I was talking to him. And then literally after that conversation I had, because I thoroughly explained everything and about people, they started like playing together.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, that only took
And
3 minutes of my time.
And I wonder if it's because in Veda's head, it's not making sense to her why this is happening.
So she needs an explanation.
So she just needs an explanation. I felt like if I would have got more of that as a kid, I wouldn't have had so many issues.
Yeah.
And it's like so sad to think about, like, oh, that poor kid. It was so labeled and just so. And then my poor mom.
Yeah.
Thinking that everyone else is telling her she's got a feral devil kid. She's believing in herself. She said that she remembers going to her bed and crying, thinking, what is going to happen with him?
Yeah,
how is he
didn't know
going to live in the world?
Right.
Also talked to her that there was about the whole constipation thing. I was going to control if I shit or not. And I was going to be the first human being to not have to do it. And I remember that.
I don't think you've ever told people that
No, dude.
story.
Okay, guys, I would hold my it wasn't I was constipated. I held it. I forced myself to be constipated. Does that make, you know what I mean?
And how old do you think that started at?
That started before I even moved out of the trailer. So I was probably like 4.
Okay.
So I was like probably Raya's age. Oh. And it was a thing. My mom had to give me enemas. It was torture. It was crazy.
But you really had the mindset of like, I'm going to be the first human.
Yes.
That never shits.
Yep. I will, because I hated it. I hated the feeling. I hated the preparation work it took. I hated all of it. It was disgusting. I hated it. I couldn't do. As a kid, I was like, this is just so stupid that we have to do this. And I remember thinking in my head, like, and then once I held it for like the first week, I was like, oh, this is what? Why is everyone doing this? We don't need toilets, guys. You can just hold it. It's fine.
And your mom's like, no.
I've done it. I'm doing it. I remember walking as a little kid thinking, like, you guys are all stupid.
But his mom says that he used to literally, she'd be like, oh, there's Tyler holding his poop in, because he would get up on his tippy toes and clench his butt.
And I go in the corner, and then they tie. I'm like, don't talk to me. Let it pass.
Because that hurts.
Oh, it was extremely painful, but it was only extremely painful for like 5 minutes. So I knew if I suffered in the corner and just waited, it would go away.
And you just didn't want to do it because it was gross?
It was gross. I didn't like the time it took to go in the bath. I hated the idea of washing hands. I just hated all of it.
Weird.
Hated it with a passion.
So what made you get over that?
My mom said I would die.
Okay.
She said, that is poison, and your body needs to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. If you don't get rid of the poison, it'll create a pocket inside your body, and the poison will go in that pocket, and you will die. And I remember reading the kid, oh my God.
So then after that, you started shitting?
I was so happy. By the way, Ma, come look, I shit. Come here. Come on, Ma, look. You know what I mean?
She's probably like, this is all I fucking had to take.
All it took was, so that thorough explanation, and she did it out of desperation. She's like, you're going to die. I remember being on the toilet one day. She's like, if you don't, you are going to die.
Oh my God.
I remember being like, oh my God, like what? And she explained it in that way. Poison, exit, you don't exit, make a pocket, goes in your body, you're dead.
And then after that day, you just started shitting on the toilet.
Yep. I'm like,
that's
you know what?
crazy.
I guess I'm going to have to be a human. I got to give up my fight.
Right.
And I fought for years.
That's crazy.
And I think the longest I went was probably 3 weeks.
Without shitting?
Yeah. My mom was like, I'll go to the hospital. They're going to cut you open. And then she'd come with the enema.
Did she ever take you to the hospital, or she always just did the enemas?
No, she did the enemas, yeah.
And she would have to pin you down.
She would chase me around the house. I mean, no. She's like, honey, I might have to get the bottle out. Not the bottle! Because it looked like a bottle. You know what I'm talking about? The douche thing with the blue?
Yeah. We've had to give one of our kids an enema before. Yeah.
So she's like, dude. My poor mom, she chased me around the house.
So
and
you're
I'd
like,
be
what,
screaming,
5,
crying.
6?
Yeah, 4 or 5. Screaming bloody murder. She had to pin me down.
And shove it up your ass.
It was violating. And so that trauma. So then that on top of it, just shitting was no good. It created chaos. It brought in pain. It was, because when you're constipated that long, it hurts.
Yeah.
So just, dude.
And then when you get an enema, I'm sure you're like on the fucking toilet shitting your brains out.
You are.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Oh.
And so I would just be like, I remember thinking in my head, why are you doing this to me?
Aw.
Like, why are you doing this to me? This hurts so bad.
She was true. Like, you're gonna fucking die, dude.
I need to get my mom to do an interview.
Yeah,
like, Mom,
you do.
Because I was gonna ask you, like, as my wife, what did you think when? Because I remember thinking about it slightly with Vaeda, but then you kept saying stuff. I'd point stuff out when I'm watching TV or something. Like,
I think what brought
you got the tism. Something like you need to go. Something going on.
I think what brought me awareness of the spectrum was watching Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
And some of their different like tendencies and weird things and stuff. And just like the way that things that you would do. And I'm like, oh, wait, maybe like this kind of makes sense. Like the way that we'll be watching like a random commercial will come on and be like, do you know whose voice that is? And I'm like, no, I don't. And like, he just knows the voice. And he'll be like, does that person look familiar? Do you know where that person's from? No, I don't. And he just like knows where all these people are from. Certain songs in the background I'll be playing in a commercial. He's like, hey, that song is from this and this and this and this. And I'm like, wait, what? So it's just like weird little things.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, maybe you are autistic.
Yeah, you'd be like, you and that TISM thing. I go,
yeah.
whatever.
And then he finally got tested and it was true. And I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense.
Like, what else do you see? Like, because I think
with you, it's definitely the memorizing, like just knowing weird random shit that not people hold in their brains.
Like not
like with like random people,
shit.
songs, right? Like random things,
annoying stuff that takes space.
But it really, I think we definitely should probably pay and get Vaeda tested.
Yeah, and
just can she go through the same place you went through?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But would she have to see her in person or like?
Well, I don't know. They I guess it might be different for kids versus adults. I'm not really sure, but I can ask her and see. But I told her a little stuff about Vaeda, and she was like, "Yeah, I would."
Yeah, I bet you she is.
Going. And she said, "Good for you for even like thinking about it."
I think it's awesome that your child inspired you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because I think kids teach a lot more than you can teach your kids. Mm-hmm. Teach your kids how to survive and whatever, but like they teach you a whole bunch of stuff,
different things of life. Yeah, and I think that's kind of something beautiful, like Vaeda, because Vaeda's had a safe space to be expressive of herself, and parents who are listening and watching and
you
noticing things.
Fire, it's so sad.
Yeah,
because I just think about myself as a kid and just I remember walking past my mom's room and hearing her cry. Saying, please, Lord, help my son, please. Like, I remember thinking in my head, like, then I go back to my room and being like, I am such a fuck up.
Yeah.
I am the worst thing that ever happened.
Not good for a kid.
No, I know. Yeah. And so being a kid, like, this is so stupid. Mm-hmm. And like, I wonder if that had anything to do with like my connection with my dad.
Oh, a whole bunch of shit.
Just all the stuff. And then when it didn't happen, just thinking like, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way a human being can live like this their whole life. And like, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that you are a beautiful human.
Thanks, babe.
You are, even with your autistic stuff
my little
and everything,
issues and shit. But I think it helps me. It helped me understand too, like be or at least be more aware of my communication style and all the things that I've said and done, like quickly without thinking or whatever. Like it just, I don't know, everything is clicking.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
like why? Like, dude, bro. What the fuck? Why did you say that? Like, what the fuck? So I think like just like forcing myself to pause a lot.
Yeah, which is hard.
It is hard, especially when things are happening so fast and people are just not getting it. So then I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I love you.
I love you too. Happy 10 years.
Happy 10 years. I know. Well, and I think we'll definitely keep you guys updated. I definitely want to get Vaeda tested too. And like I said, just like, parents need to get educated about it.
Yeah, and if
too.
anyone's listening out there, like, can you like relate to anything that I'm saying? Like, that'd be great. I need some validation here because I've not talked about it publicly. I haven't like said anything about being autistic ever, you know?
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to like, I don't know, hear some other people's experiences because everyone's gonna have a different one.
Oh, they are.
Like the girl told me, she's like, your diagnosis report is gonna be different from everyone else's.
Well, right, because
your
it's a
masking
spectrum.
level's different than other people. Like it's but I think like just learning about it is. I'm still learning about it. That's why probably I haven't said anything publicly. I'm still digesting it. I'm still like figuring it all out.
I think it's good to be talked about though too. You know,
if anyone out there listen, like can relate, like let me know.
Oh, I bet you. No, I bet you they can. I bet you they can. But I definitely and I want to get Vaeda tested and learn stuff just like as her parent, how we can better support her. And I think that in turn also helps you learn more about yourself also, you know? So, well, make sure you guys like and review our show and definitely check out our Patreon page. I always share about it. We'll be talking to you guys next week.
On Cate Ty, break it down. Thank you very much.
Just when you thought summer couldn't get any hotter, Pluto TV is turning up the heat with thousands of free movies. Presenting Summer of Cinema. Stream your favorite blockbuster films like Gladiator,
I will have my vengeance.
Good Burger,
This is what I call fast food.
Beverly Hills Cop, The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and Julie and Julia.
Bon appetit.
All for free on your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.